Back-to-back stories about Facebook. Today we're going to talk about whether they actually understand what it means to delete something or not. Spoiler alert, they don't. John's got it on today's Not So Critical Update.
This is pretty serious, but it's been kind of said already. An Air Force vet was working at Facebook at their escalations reporting department, I think what it's called. Basically, this person checks, or this department, they look through really terrible things that have been posted onto Facebook and categorize it, deem it, whatever. Things like beheadings is one example that they used in the article. The Air Force vet employee said that they have been fired because they raised an issue that Facebook is actually able to access deleted data and share it with law enforcement and internally, and who else, where else, no one knows. The reason this is a big deal is because, of course, Facebook is not honoring their word of actually deleting data. The reason it's less of a big deal is because this was assumed from the start, right? When we upload something, but it's not assumed to your normal Joe out there who accidentally uploaded a picture and was like, I don't want this on there, and then deleted it. That's deleted. Well, it wasn't. And from my perspective, anything you upload on the internet will always be there. That's the mentality you have to take, is everything you share online just will forever be archived and saved. That's
and likely
assumption.
Seen by other people.
Yeah, that's an assumption. That's a safe assumption to make. And it's a good assumption to make to kind of practice good operational security on the web. But in this case, Facebook, yet again, are pieces of shit who claim to delete data, didn't actually delete it, and then shared that data with law enforcement. Now, in the case of things like child protective laws, that's a good example. Facebook has to store certain data for a certain amount of time after it's been deleted. Every cloud company, every company has to do this when you're following certain compliance laws. This is for this type of situation where law enforcement or agencies or whatever need to see this data after the fact, 6 months later, a year later. Facebook just is liable. They have to hold on to a certain amount of data. They have to go through and jump through a few hoops to get rid of that data. So, but that's not what we're talking about. We're just talking about Facebook promising to delete data, saying it's deleted, and then not deleting it. And then a bigger deal, I think, too, is this person that brought it up to the higher-ups, said, hey, this is wrong. You guys are fucked up, was fired for not bringing it up, but for trying to help their grandmother get access back from their hacked Facebook account. And Facebook claims that this person didn't go through the proper channels. But they did go through the proper channels. The only reason that they were fired was because they used an admin tool, internal admin tool, to look up the grandma's email address. I assume to check what's going on with the account before they escalated it to the right department. So they used that as the termination offense, which is insane. Imagine if a family member came to you and was like, my account got hacked. You work there. Can you check it out for me? And you're like, yeah, obviously. Then you get fired for that? Like, no, what's going on? Yeah, you're out. What the fuck? What kind of company is this? So,
what kind of company is Facebook?
It's a loaded question, filled with controversy. So Facebook is getting sued by this person, partly because of their wrongful termination, and also because they're just liars who told people that they were deleting their data when they weren't.
Yeah, and that was the piece that the comment that I made when I submitted the story was, I'm beginning to think Facebook doesn't understand what the word deleted means. So this lawsuit reads, Facebook has represented to users for years that once content was deleted by its users, it would not remain on any Facebook servers and would be permanently removed. And it reminded me of this story that we talked about a while ago about Facebook deleting, saying that they were going to delete facial recognition data, only to find out a week later that, like, well, Facebook was deleting it, but Meta's actually still going to keep it and keep using it. So not really deleted, just, we're not going to use it anymore, theoretically. So yeah, a pattern of behavior. These guys are full of shit. They have, privacy is not an issue for them. Like, what are you talking about? Privacy? You're talking about privacy. No, we're not talking about privacy. We're talking about how to make more money, how to get past regulations in Europe. It's pretty bad.
How to get past regulations, period.
Yeah, sure.
Facebook doesn't give a shit. They're just in it for the money. Mark is just feeding away on the souls of 2 billion people. And, got to give it to Facebook because they single-handedly provide us with like 70% of content. So that like, if we had a list, which we actually probably should make, if we had like a wall of shame, a virtual wall of shame, like there is no doubt Facebook would be at the top. Number one. That's numero uno, public enemy number one. Facebook is up there.
Who could be number two?
Maybe Google.
That feels too easy. You're just going to start with FANG. Google, Amazon, Facebook.
They are
Apple,
the biggest, I feel like.
Netflix.
Well, no. I wouldn't even say Apple's up there. I wouldn't say Apple reaches top 10. Apple is actually, in terms of their privacy and security policy, top tier. They get to
They're just so arrogant.
They don't share it with anyone else. Yeah, right. Though I guess the right to fix stuff on Apple's part, that's probably one that could inch it towards the top 10. But in terms of protecting users, does it really get any better than Apple? I don't have any Apple devices besides the company provided MacBook, but can't say Apple's that bad of an Apple. Nice. But like, Netflix, pretty terrible.
No, Netflix is awesome. What are you talking about? Terrible. Netflix is great. What's the issue with Netflix? You just don't like that they're bringing in ads and threatening to crack down on password sharing.
I guess also like being the single catalyst to destroy ownership of digital media alongside Spotify is a pretty big one.
I'm all for it. Except for the fact that Google Play lost my entire fucking music library.
Insane.
That still pisses me off. Insane. Like, it exists somewhere, but I don't know what account it's on. And Google. I could go off like the Google apps relationship with like Gmail address, like all that has just been a mess for 15 years. I don't understand what their problem is. Topic for another day. Bottom line, fuck Facebook.
Fuck Facebook.